Hello, this is our last recording of 2025. Whoa. Last week, sat down with young people and we actually watched real world news of the Plymouth shooting. And the thing that sort of came quite striking straight away was the shooters' vlog accounts were, little snippets of it were shown. The young people were like, oh, is that actually him? And it's like, yeah, that actually is him.
It was quite important to kind of show them, like, this is real, like, this stuff we are talking about, like, this is very relevant. Actually seeing that example and kind of seeing how the guy just looked like a normal guy, you know, he wasn't a boogeyman, he didn't look like a monster or anything, he was just your Joe Schmo. It was really interesting afterwards to have the talk of, well, someone like this, just an average guy, how do they fall down, you know, are they born this way? And we all kind of agreed that, you know, nobody's really born an incel. But how does that happen? How does that indoctrination happen?
So that was good to sort of dive into that a bit, which then came into video games and their own experience with video games and violent video games, and how much they thought that impacted on their behavior, especially when it came to like online chat.
You know, do they believe that there is a link between playing violent video games and people acting, you know, in violent ways in real life? And it was quite interesting. There was a lot of mixed feedback. We brought up the scenario of Doom, where the school shooter with I think it was Columbine, actually had the whole high school mapped out on a little mod they'd made for their game on Doom, so they could practice basically acting out the shooting they were going to do. So using that example and asking them, and some did say, well, you know, most people would be able to kind of tell there's you know, it's a game, but I guess it's for that small amount of people that aren't able to tell, especially younger kids. You know, they brought up Fortnite quite a lot. How Fortnite, some of them even said that because Fortnite's so kid friendly and that it shows, you know, when someone gets shot, it's not really as violent. They said that's worse because, you know, it doesn't show how serious it is. Whereas some argued, well, no, a violent in the game is worse because they're getting all that violence normalized. So it was quite interesting to have those two takes.
I'm always one to sort of protect the kind of art and things and not like use that as a damning thing. Like, you know, I'm massive in horror films and like, you know, violent media, but it doesn't make me violent as a result. Though I would say to a certain degree, like, I've played video games, especially ones that have been really difficult, and it's kind of raised my blood a little bit, or made me being a little bit more frustrated or snappy. And I think that is something that is a slight link. The chat calls you have with people, that it's almost that normalizing of being told that you're rubbish, or like, you know, that being sworn at constantly, and like what might see is quite playful. I think
playful trash talk can actually, for a lot of people, be quite damaging, and you might not even notice that at the time how much that has a toll on you.
Having that for hours on end to then greet your loved ones or your family members and not sort of deliver the same sort of tone that you've just been getting that whole time. So I think, yeah, it's important, almost the fact that there should be almost some sort of cool down after playing extensive gaming. I think that is probably something that, you know, would be a healthy thing to do.
Final session.
Yeah, final session, which, you know, it's their last week at school. So to be honest, the fact that they all actually engaged throughout was just like, thank you. Because you could easily be like, it's end of the week. Like,
last week it's Christmas, I just want to play games.
Home designing what our two characters' bedrooms look like. That was really fun, and it was interesting to see like the kind of rich and kind of like, you know, fairly okay divide in the sort of room and layout and the items, which then kind of led on to them doing some drama pieces of the two characters playing video games with each other.
So the first scene was them kind of showing a slight conflict in the game, kind of making up afterwards. And then they moved on to do a scene where they talked about incels. One particular group did a really good one where one of the characters was streaming on Twitch, and it was the Twitch chat that actually first used the word incel and kind of brought that up
community gaming users were suddenly piling onto them a bit for their lack of knowledge, but also the fact that they didn't really have any kind of like point of reference. So that immediately there was like, they were saying, oh, there's people in the chat here saying that men should be in charge, and woman, go to the kitchen and make me a meal. So that was kind of really great. And the fact that they suddenly felt overwhelmed, their characters felt overwhelmed to be like, okay, let's come off the stream because like people were just like piling on here. So that was great kind of drama. I think what was so great about these scenes is they were so naturalistic at times. I mean, there was like the younger sibling on one of the groups, and really sort of saying like, "Oh, get away! I'm gaming here with my pal." We are looking to return in February. It's going to be sad to not be doing this weekly get together with these young people, because we've really actually found a really good bond with them,
and a really good group.
We are going to be doing a read through in February. That's going to be from Claire's writing over Christmas. She's still going to be reaching out to the young people for like, you know, any other questions or things. So, and they're very happy to sort of continue engaging with that. So, and I think the future kind of holds really how much more engagement do these young people want? Do they want to continue talking about the subject matter, or might be some other issues that, you know, if our youth working, we can help facilitate, or the fact that, you know, hey, do you want to come and do some of our activities that we do outside of the school, or even link in with the school.
Just so there is some follow-up for them, and they're not kind of just being like, okay guys, on you go, shoo, you know, because that would be a shame to kind of just leave them. I really wasn't too sure what to expect when we first started, you know, doing this. I've never worked in a high school before, you know, during their class time, so I was like, oh, no, I'm not too sure of this. So it's been lovely to see how much they've really put into it and how excited and enthusiastic they are about it. So it has been an honor.
It's also just been great working with Calum, and it's been great working with Claire. Just exploring this even for ourselves, really, because I didn't really have much of a clue beforehand, and it really has kind of like opened my eyes, and to have Calum here to have such a great kind of like youthful knowledge point about so many things, from ridiculous memes. Wow, you already had like conversations about like, you know, what it kind of fundamentally means to be like a better man, I guess, really, in a lot of ways. So I feel as if I've had so many kind of more kind of older, stereotypical, kind of bad male kind of idolizing, or at least kind of a lot more of a kind of, I don't know, it just feels a bit like, I feel as if it's made me appreciate more being a better man, and the fact that is ever like, you know, there's more ways to look at this, and yeah, just actually just being like better to each other, I think.